Hello my soul family, welcome to our spirituality retreat today for the solar eclipse of 2021 in June of 2021, and we also are celebrating today a new moon in Gemini. So today, of course, I brought it here into my little garden with some tea here for us to share and discuss and do our spiritual talk first. Remember, this is a two-part event. We begin with the discussion, our spiritual talk about the energies and what's happening astrologically, but just also intuitively with this rush of energy that's coming with the solar eclipse. So there's a lot to talk about. And then we're gonna end our session with a nice Sambo healing session. It's gonna be so healing, relaxing, and calming, because that's what we need during these crazy times. I know that there's been a lot of shifts in changes of direction and lots of new tasks given by God for our mission work, but it's all to make us stronger. It's all to make us grow up and fortified as a warrior of light. Now, I do want to mention that my presentation that I did for the Lightworker University 2021 Part 2, The Reawakening, is going to be very relevant to today's talk. There's a lot of different revelations that happen in there that you really want access to. So if you want to, purchase that paid event, and it's going to explain to you what the next 6 months are about, because this solar eclipse is definitely setting the stage. It's finally this new portal opening for these new 6 months ahead, which is the end of the year already. So there's not time to waste, and it's time to go, go, go. It's a time for focused, oriented action and being committed to the goals that we're setting today, because this is what new moons are about. It is about setting our intentions, but in particular with the new moon in Gemini, think about what happened in the last new moon in Gemini, or even 2 years back to the new moon in Gemini, because I was just having some retrospect time before I came on today, and I noticed some synchronicities with the last new moon in Gemini that we celebrated in 2 years ago, so 2019. And I'm doing something similar in my personal life now. So I feel like this is relevant. Whatever has happened before the worldwide crisis in 2020, because remember the year 2020 was like a pause. It was like a freezing point in this timeline that we're living in. So I feel like even 2020 per se didn't really count. And I know that sounds frustrating to many people because, it was a long year. It was a chaotic year. It was a year of instability, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and especially financially, right? And even though we've all grown wiser and better people because of that year, I don't feel that when it comes to our personal life per se, we've made that much progress. Okay, and remember, nothing is in vain. So that means no time is in vain, because you have learned something. But it was like a practice, it was like a dress rehearsal in a way. Okay, and I know that sounds funny, but it was not the real thing. We're now stepping into the real thing, because we have gone back out into the reality per se, especially for light workers. Let me explain to you what happens to light workers is that when you wake up on your journey, hence your spiritual awakening, which I will be talking more about in an upcoming book, the spiritual awakening in the initial phases, and even year or 2 years so, God secludes you in a way for purposes of cleansing, shielding, and gaining new insight, hence these revelations. And if any of you have been in this awakening that I mentioned, that was the purpose of 2020 and even a little bit of 2019, then you were still in this preparation phase. You were like in the cocoon of a butterfly, basically, like the cocoon in a caterpillar, or you were still like in the womb of a mother, for example. And hence why this year is the rebirth, is because we're being reborn. And when you are born, you're born with innocence, right? And this has been the theme for June is returning back to innocence. This is the peak of the rebirth, because no more are we being reborn again after June. Now we're stepping into the reawakening, because this is the second round of awakening. You understand? So this is how the evolution of the soul journey happens. It's like a spiral. And even though it seems that you're repeating similar cycles, it's not the same thing at a detail, because you are evolving like a spiral. It's almost the same kind of cycle, maybe even like strategy or just the vibration, but it's a new phase. And it's different because you are different, and you are the temple, you are the embodiment of your soul. So this is the progression that we're all undergoing, even at a DNA level. And this is even the cellular awakening of light workers, because light workers have very powerful gifts, spiritual gifts, but also even physical gifts that can seem supernatural to a sense, to an extent, to others who are not supernatural per se, right? Because other people might just be like more mundane. Like, how do I explain this? Even though everybody has gifts, it's kind of like the Harry Potter series that we've been learning in my School of Light for Kids. Harry Potter and his friends and all the people at Hogwarts were the magicians, were the gifted ones, right? The witches and wizards. Whereas the other human world were the muggles. They had no special gifts, and hence they did not believe. So it's more of the non-believers that are staying stuck in the mundane. And when I'm talking about the belief here, we're talking about belief in God, in a higher power, in a higher source, in miracles even. And those of you who fall into the category of truly believing, even if you don't see it with your very eyes, because that's the true meaning and definition of faith, right? Is believing before you see, not seeing and then believing, because that takes away from the miracle and from the point of the lesson, right? So that's what I'm feeling, like there's a split in the collective. And I've been feeling this split because it's also the split of the year, but it's definitely a split in the collective, because most of us who have been doing the work, if you're watching this video, you are stepping into this new earth, into this new portal that's opening for us. That's a whole new journey. It's a whole another adventure. And I've been talking about this in the fashion shows. The fashion shows are going to be very imperative at these moments, because they're building off each other, and they're really explaining to the T what the spiritual journey is going through. And there's different phases and little kind of mazes in that spiritual journey that we need to figure our way out of it, and to the finish line, which is heaven on earth, or paraíso. Because remember that we've been discussing the split in the collective is those who are heaven on earth, who are experiencing their heaven on earth, because they see through the veil of illusion, and they know how to experience their inner joy and peace despite external circumstances. And the other split, the other half of the collective, is in fear, and hence stuck in their purgatory. And this is a whole nother level here of the in-between, right? You're neither below, but you're neither above in your best. They're in the transition. And that's where my New You Tell Me Soul Coaching program comes in, to get you out of that purgatory phase. That can seem very frustrating. And in fact, it's worse than even the lowest point, because there's a complete unknown darkness and emptiness in that purgatory. And there's constant tests and challenges being thrown at you because you haven't passed them. And hence you keep repeating karmic cycles. And it can be very confusing for many who don't understand what's happening on a spiritual level. And they just think that that's life happening to them, or it's just a new person coming into their life, but really it's just the same lesson with a different face. And so that's where wisdom comes in, and where you really need to be clever on your soul journey. Remember that life is made of choices, so choose wisely. That was actually the quote of the day for today, because I really feel this strongly. I really feel like this should be our mantra during these moments, because there will be lessons that might repeat themselves only to make sure that you've learned the lesson, or that you will react differently from how you reacted last time. Acting through our morality, our integrity, and as a representative of God, as a divine representation of God, right? Because that's what we are. We're living, walking embodiments of God in Christ here on earth. So we are to represent God in the most highest fashion possible, and wear our royal crown and walk with pride, confidence, and beauty, because it radiates from the inside out. And when I say pride, I'm talking about pride with the lowercase p, not with the capital P. We don't want to be walking around thinking that we're greater than anyone else or even greater than God, but rather we are proud to be divine children of God because we are more like Him than we think, and we want to be more like Him. And that's a beautiful message to begin today's spiritual talk, because this is setting the clarity here of what the solar eclipse is about. And I'm going to talk about more about the solar eclipse and the new moon in Gemini, because we have many new moon in Geminis. But solar eclipse only happen 4 times a year. Hence, we only have 2 lunar eclipse and 2 solar eclipse per year. So it's a very big deal what we're all dealing with. And I wanted to point out as well the last lunar eclipse that we had and what we talked about in the spiritual talk. The lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse are different, because the lunar eclipse targets more of our subconscious, our emotions, and the dark shadows that we need to face. Is a lot of shadow work that we are doing on an individual level. So whatever happened these past 2 weeks since the last lunar eclipse has been imperative for setting this new stage of the solar eclipse, because the solar eclipse are here to bring in this confidence and burst of courage that you are more ready than you think. You're stronger than you think, so stop holding yourself back. And it's about just doing it, going after it, and then really having this willpower and determination to keep going on your journey, no matter how hard it might seem, and no matter how even beat down you might feel. Because whatever you've been working on these past 2 weeks, there's been revelations that also have been given to us, because there's been a lot of intuition being heightened during these past 2 weeks. I can tell you my own personal life. I have been channeling nonstop. I have been writing a lot, completing projects that I have needed to be completed, and it was the missing puzzle piece that I got revealed during these last 2 weeks. So now I know how to begin this solar eclipse in the right fashion and in the smartest way as well, right? Because you don't want to rush into something or be impulsive, which is what this lunar eclipse taught us. Is about thinking before acting, having a strategy in place, and planning for your future, and not just going for it mindlessly, right? Because that's going to take you in circles, and that's not going to take you anywhere solid. So I do feel like that's the main energy when it comes to mission work. That's been the main focus, I feel, for these past 2 weeks. But of course, there has been energy when it comes to love, which I did channel in the love show. But whatever happened in the lunar eclipse, I feel like that day was very significant, that day of the lunar eclipse in specific. And then there might have been things that have been eclipsed out, because that's what sometimes lunar eclipse do, because it's the closing, it's the darkness, right? Eclipses things out of your life, takes things out of your life, so perhaps there can be more clarity or more space or solitude so that you can focus. You know, in my life, these past 2 weeks never have been as solitude as before. I've never felt like, I don't want to say more alone, but I was alone, but I wasn't lonely, because I always know that I have God and my angels and my family. But it has been a very alone time during these past 2 weeks, and with good reason, right? God doesn't isolate you for no reason. It's been to get these insights. And I feel like now with the solar eclipse, it's bringing back the light, the daylight, the joy, and just bringing in back people in your life as well. New friendships and soul tribes perhaps. Because I feel like anything that's been popping up in the past 2 weeks, anyone that you've interacted with, have been people that you've already known in the past, that you have already cultivated at a certain level of friendship. some level of friendship with them. And when it comes to love, I feel like the lovers have been eclipsed out during these past 2 weeks, because remember that love can distract you. And for these specific 2 weeks, we've needed to have this clarity. And this is why a lot of light workers on their journey experience phases in their life of celibacy and being single, because they need that alone time to concentrate on God's work. And sometimes love can distract, right? But remember that God is not wanting us to be alone forever. And I have been feeling like there is new love coming in, a soulmate energy that might even be the one. And it's a new love. It's someone that we haven't had any experience with in the past. Because if that were the case, you would have had some interaction with them in these past 2 weeks. Because coincidentally as well, we also are in a Mercury retrograde till the end of spring. So literally when summer solstice hits, which is June 20th or 22nd, maybe between those 2 days, that's when summer begins officially. And that's when Mercury retrograde is over. And remember that Mercury retrograde brings in people from the past. But again, it's the test. It's the test, and usually it's recommended that you do not make any hasty decisions during Mercury retrogrades, because you might regret it, and it just might be the wrong path. And again, these are just tests, because remember, Mercury rules intellectuality. It's also the teacher, the philosopher, and if it's in retrograde, it's probably thinking very foggy, and it might get clouded by their emotions and not make wise decisions, right? So this is why I'm saying we should never make life-changing decisions during a Mercury retrograde. And that's what's happening. This is why this whole month of June basically is a time of solitude at a certain extent, reflection and introspection, and just seeking this knowledge and ancient wisdom from above by going within. It's the only way to get the raw truth, not from without or from even another person, but from within. You and your angels and God will illuminate you and give you the response that you have been praying for, the answer to your prayers. And so I feel like by the summer solstice, which I will of course be doing another special spirituality retreat, it's gonna be like the window curtains have been opened in a way, right? The sun is there with the solar eclipse, but the window curtains are closed. And you're not able to go out yet and experience that fresh air, the beautiful playground, and then actually interact with your peers and your friends per se. But I feel like when the windows start opening, because the sun, remember, and Jupiter as well, bring opportunities, and that's when slowly, as June passes by, remember, we're almost at the end of June, believe it or not. The window and the windows of opportunity are literally going to start opening up. Gold is going to start coming in, golden opportunities, and gold is going to be possible to manifest. We're going to have the Midas touch to be able to manifest. And we've been working on this behind the scenes, but that's the key here. We are doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now. And that's how it should stay. That's the smartest way, because we're testing things out. We're still on the experimental level. And it's going to be for the best, because once we've reached, there's a difference between perception and knowingness, which is what A Course in Miracles teaches us, right? When you're in the state of perception, it's because you're not for sure certain that it's going to work. So you're assuming, you're hypothesizing. And when you're in this knowingness, it's because you've already been through the experience and you know for a fact that yes, that's the way that's going to work. This is the result that it's going to give me if I try this approach, this strategy, this plan. And so I think, I feel that's why we're needing time to just be on our own, to make sure there's no, how should I say this, no unreliability to our experiments, to the revelations that we're getting, no outside influences, basically, distractions, interruptions, right? Because remember that when you spend a lot of time with people oracally, and you're an empath, someone who's very sensitive to energies, I'm not saying that you can never be around people, right? But it's just like when there's important work, and of course you're not always doing like such important work per se, there's always just critical moments throughout the year. And this is a critical moment that we're in this month. I feel like just within the next 2 weeks, and I feel like it's going to dissipate. But it's like a critical moment because we're needing to just really be in our own energy to make sure that we did the best we could. We gave it all that we got, and we got the clear insight and guidance from God. Okay, and this can apply to any work that you're working on, any project that you're working on, any new venture, your business, or just basically your mission work, whatever it is that you do. This is what's happening. And yeah, I feel like that's the overall basic theme for this solar eclipse today, a new moon in Gemini. So let's bring in a little bit of a reading before we do the last 15 minutes of our ensemble healing session. Okay, so I hope you're all having a beautiful day today. It's just amazing today. I feel like very good energy today. I got inspired to create this new room in like a different way for our little tea discussions. And of course, I will also be doing a spiritual gathering today, which is our Buddha talk for the School of Light. So if you want more information, because this is also what came up in the weekly health guidance this week, it's about seeking higher consciousness, and our Buddha talk is going to help. Become a member at my School of Light, christinamirz.com/school. Get access to all my classes. It's really going to illuminate a lot of what I've been studying, how the world began, why we're here, and how do we seek this higher consciousness. And this can apply to daily life. Trust that when you are embodying higher consciousness, you just know things from a higher divine intelligence. It's just a whole different experience living as a human. And you get the development, you start cultivating your spiritual gifts, and it really makes you see the world through different eyes, literally through your spiritual eye. And it's just a beautiful experience. That's what heaven on earth living is about. All right, so let's get started. I brought a whole bunch of cards here set up today. And I also thought it was appropriate for me to dress the color yellow for empowerment and to honor the sun today. Remember, the sun, even the Egyptians used to honor and worship the sun, their sun god, right? They used to call it Ra. And I'm not saying that the sun is the god, but we do depend on the sun to keep living, right? All the planets orbit around the sun. The sun is the ultimate force that keeps all of us alive and thriving in a sense, because sun also gives us joy, vitamin D even. It brings in the light. And remember, you know, we talked about this in the fashion show. I'm not going to give away what I talked about there. Definitely watch the June one. I posted it today as well in my Soul Coaching Instagram page, because it's very important, the energies, they're tying in together. And the message, the theme was heavenly set. There's heavenly set messages, gifts, rewards, love, a whole bunch of things. Let's get started then with, let's get the overall energy for what's this solar eclipse going to bring in right away. Okay, what I'm getting, we have definitely healing energy for sure, because when I was bringing out my sacred geometry cards, I will show it, actually my astrology cards, the healing Chiron card just popped out. And here we have Jesus, and he came up in my dream just like this. He is working, healing us, particularly if you really connect with Jesus. I do. I pray to him every day. He's a huge part of my spiritual lifestyle, my prayers and meditation. And he showed up in my dream, and that's never happened before. And this dream, what took about place like a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I think, actually around the lunar eclipse. And it was interesting because what he told me, without speaking a word, it was just like a telepathic way of telling me. He told me, I'm going to shut you in this room, and he closed the door, and I'm going to heal you here. So if you're feeling isolated, or you feel like you've just been put in a little room to do your work and not really kind of have fun or interact, it's because there's healing taking place on all levels: emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. And Archangel Raphael is working in conjunction with Jesus, because he's also the healer in the archangel realm. And we've been learning about all of our archangels in my angel study class at the School of Light. And this is our fourth chakra, which is our heart. I feel like it's our heart that's needing healing. Maybe there's still a lot of wounds from the past. And this is an ongoing theme that's going on, which, you know, I'm even a little frustrated already to say that, because we should already have healed this. This has been a whole year kind of thing, even since last year. But I feel like the issue here, we're going to ask more about that. But definitely, we also are working on our financial stability. The woman holding a coin in reverse. Remember that money is energy. So if you're not attracting money, you need to check your energy. And I feel like perhaps it might even have to do with the heart chakra. Because the heart chakra, if we're going to relate it to money, the heart rules receptivity. When you have an open heart, it means you're receptive, right? And if you have a closed heart, it means you're not receptive. So if you're in this non-receptive state, this also means that subconsciously, right? Because who doesn't want to receive money? Subconsciously, you're actually repelling money. And I know that can seem hard to hear for many of you, but there's something that needs to be worked on in the heart chakra. This might take your own reflection to do it, because I don't feel like my angels and guides right now are wanting to give me the specific answer per se, because there really is no specific answer. It's different for everyone. But this is the issue. This is what's holding even abundance back from your life. And this is a pentacle card, so I'm not talking about love here. We're talking about abundance, independence financially. So, and you see we got the financial constraints in reverse. So we're working right now during these times, and especially with this new solar eclipse now, it's going to open the doors to heal any financial constraints, okay? And we can speed up the process by healing our heart. And we're going to talk about more about that at the end. But I do talk about healing from past wounds in my New You 10-week soul coaching program, plus other themes that are going to be important for healing this financial lack that maybe some of you might be experiencing. This looks like a bookshelf with nothing in it, but an old book and 2 coins. And I'm getting, you know, this is about thinking outside the box. How you use those 2 coins to the maximum. And this book, you can do more things with just this book and these 2 little coins than with a whole bag of coins, because this book contains the wisdom. And this wisdom comes from above and from within. And that is the secret, my friends. So this is a wonderful revelation that we just got. And this is a karmic contract. This is our soul contract, our purpose, why we came here to earth. So if you're trying to make money just by seeking jobs that are going to give you money, but not fulfillment, not happiness, not passion, you're never going to be able to reap this abundance. Because the secret is doing it with love. Okay? That's how we open our heart chakra. Beautiful answer. And you know, today's daily message, if I'm just going to reveal to you, the entrepreneurship came up, the card came up from our angels. And that's a key thing for many of you who want to be entrepreneurs. This is a message of assurance. Go for it, because that's what's going to suit your disposition the most. And maybe you've been holding back for whatever reason, because of fear, or because you don't think you're good enough, or you even have the resources or talent. But God is telling you that you do. You don't have to be perfect to begin, but rather the more you practice and the more you're actually already in the business, that's how we naturally improve. Take a look at me, for example, with my soul coaching brand and even my health and wellness brand. If you look back 2 years when I started this, I had the same vision, not the same vision, but I had a soul coaching brand, right? I had that thing in that business in mind, and I started my health and wellness brand, but it's nowhere near how developed it is now. The way that it's with these nice, beautiful rooms, creativity, my professionalism that I added to it, the logos, the trailers, and just the way that I speak as well. I'm much more confident because I know that I'm speaking truth. I no longer doubt myself like I did in the beginning. And that's how it is at the beginning of every new venture. You might doubt yourself, and that's okay. But it's in your mind, these fears. And again, that's where A Course in Miracles comes in. Because the more that you love it and the more that you want to get better at it, naturally you will. Time always will be at your benefit, so long as you keep practicing and doing it day in, day out. I have never stopped this in the past 2 years. In fact, I've only worked harder and more hours over these 2 years. And even then, I'm still here. I'm not crying that I'm so tired to even show up, or maybe I'm not crying about maybe I'm not reaping the abundance that I want for all the work that I put into it, right? Because sometimes that's not the way that it works. If you love what you do, naturally you will be able to survive, but it might take time for you to reach that level that you can even live off of what you love, right? And I'm not saying that it can't be a miraculous transformation, but you just gotta be patient with the journey, and you gotta start somewhere, right? If you never start and take that first step, how are you gonna know where you're gonna be at years later? So the message today is go for it and start now. Start now and start on this journey, this new adventure that God has put us on our path. And it might be an extra new journey. Remember, lots of us have different missions on earth. Many of us have multiple missions, and that's okay. You can do it all. Pray for spiritual strength. All right, so let's get to our next one. This is the Psychic Tarot. There's a lot to do in life. So let's get to it and let's stop wasting time. Because time, if anything, we've learned how valuable it is. If anything, if 2020 has taught us anything, is to not waste time, right? And to stay happy in the process, because you never know what's going to happen next. And especially always be loving to those around you. And of course, this is definitely what I've been feeling these past 2 weeks. There's a discontent and boredom energy coming in, and this is just because of this solitude that's happening. This is like the in-between that we're in, right? We're like in the brainstorming phase that we just went out of. We know where we need to go now, but we're not there yet at the end destination yet, at the finish line. So we're still at the very beginning. So it can feel a little bit frustrating or even boring. Boring because there's no one around you, and even boring because you're not seeing the results yet, and that's okay, right? Lack of victory and success, but it will come in due time. And the way to achieve this is by obviously needing to make the needed sacrifices and staying stable emotionally, creating a stable routine, schedule. All of these things matter because they are going to help us. A spiritual solid relationship with God, the spiritual lifestyle, is what's going to keep us grounded despite not being there yet. Despite wanting to make our visions come true, sometimes they can get the best of us, and you can be walking on clouds, right? And just thinking about those dreams. But you need to come back on earth and make them a reality by taking action, taking those steps, literally walking the journey. And walking, not running it, right? This is about slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. That's a classic saying, but it's so true. And let's move on to some astrology cards to see what other energy we want to get. We're going to get for this new phase that we're in. And I think I will be doing my spiritual talks in this little tea area here. Tea garden, I'm going to call it. We got the sun. Solar eclipse, right? And the 13 again, karmic contracts. This is life purpose energy. This is destiny. Fate coming in now. This is the revelations. God has given us the path to reach our fate. And the air in reverse, this is about not staying in the clouds anymore. Coming down from heaven, from above, right? Remember that earth is a school. Many of you who resonate with being an earth angel and light worker are not from here. You're being sent here to help from the inside out. Because earth is a school, and maybe you've already learned the lessons, but you're still here for a purpose. If you're alive, it's because you have a purpose. Because you were meant now to lead others the way. You're meant to now lead others to the same way. Like Jesus did, right? Jesus wasn't from here, yet he still had a mission. And yeah, this is the moon in reverse. We're out of the lunar eclipse energy, thank God, because it was pretty dark. It was kind of like a dark night of the soul again, but like compressed in 2 weeks. And now we're out of that. We're at the light at the end of the tunnel, right? But there's still now new work to do. And let's see what this new work is going to be about. Let's get some extra deeper astrology cards. Grand Cross Provoker. I'm seeing like the Two of Swords card. There's two paths to take, hence the temptation. What path are you going to take? Are you going to stay in purgatory? Or are you going to go on the higher route, right? That's one of the energies, but I feel like there are more energies to come in. And it's the number 47 card. Pluto is the transformation energy. Like I just said, this is the ultimate transformation of the year that we will be experiencing. And maybe it might be like an 11-week journey. But Pluto, remember, is also about our deepest subconscious desires. Hence these dreams, what's deep in your heart. And whatever transformation that we want to experience, we're needing to go deep within. Because that's how true healing happens, right? For example, in my I Knew You Tell Me Soul Coaching program, if you try to do that program superficially and just try to see things from like not going within, skipping on certain aspects of your journey, you're not going to experience the true transformation because there's missing pieces to it. And God is wanting me to take a look at this card. You see, this is the card that came up before, Chiron healing, but there's more healing needed to take place. It's in reverse. And this is our wounded child from within that we're working on transforming. What's going to help us through these moments is staying grounded on earth through stability, right? It's the triangle in reverse, bridging heaven and earth, but we're being sent to earth to do work, to do what we desire, the fire element, bringing in more love and passion to what we do. This is also action-oriented energy, the battle, the warrior of light, the army of God. And while we got the air element before, is the communicating as well. We're communicating with heavenly realms, but it's in the reverse, so perhaps we're needing to spend more time communicating with our angels, hence the solitude. That's the only reason why we are being secluded. Our routine needs more stability, 6th house energy, which is also ruling of being of service. How can we balance out our life? This could do with definitely our material stability, reaching the state of knowingness, and thinking outside the box, Aquarius energy. Creative, new, genius ways of doing things that hasn't been thought of before. And in order to do this, we need to connect to our true self, the body, 1st house, which is our temple to our soul. And we got the Saturn return age in reverse. So remember that this is about wisdom. What's what I'm getting more than anything. And wisdom has nothing to do with age, but it has to do just with spiritual connection and even experience per se. But Saturn, there is Saturn influence, definitely. And this is about more discipline needed. This is the return of Saturn, the teacher, the hard teacher, the very strict disciplinary, telling us to get to work and telling us that we are in the military of God. So this is a very military-like energy that has been coming up for quite a few months, but now it's being more exemplified, like to the max. Okay, and last but certainly not least, let's get a few sacred geometry cards. And this is the card that I saw before, healing. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. This is about putting all the pieces together. And let's get a little extra message right away. We got realization in reverse. So this is these revelations that we are receiving. The frequency of realization supports the internal process of becoming aware of our heart-centered truth, as well as the external process of becoming our highest expression in this world. Number 37 card. And then last but certainly not least, and this is the Divine Feminine needing this healing. I feel like this is the Divine Feminine, which supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side. So needing to open up our hearts, allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. And this goes for both the masculine and the feminine, because all of us have a divine feminine within. And this is what it's talking about. The integration even of the yin and the yang from within. It supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves. And this is actually what came up in the daily as well. It said, embrace all that is you. And this is what it's talking about. Allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Transmuting any negativity into positivity. Love versus fear, right? We all experience fear, but you can transmute that energy into love. And that's a beautiful energy, beautiful way to end today. But I do want to end with, okay, maybe this card wanted to come up. The sacral chakra is the chakra that is really being worked on, which is the chakra of creativity. The frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our life. I'm definitely feeling this. I was actually tuning in with the chakra earlier today, as well as the solar plexus. And then I do want to bring in a spirit animal. I say these special cards, I designed these, so you will not find these anywhere. But I really do feel like there's a power spirit animal that wants to come up for us today. And maybe we might look it up in the book if I feel called. Okay. One card for today, one spirit animal. Wow, we got the octopus. And you know what's funny? I was having a conversation about the octopus many months ago, should I say, like in March. It's much easier to be yourself than to try and be something you are not. This is about, again, staying true to yourself. The octopus is coming, and remember, the octopus has 8 legs. This might have to do with, you know, 8. The number 8 has to do with the rebirth, infinity, infinite potential, growth, exponential abilities, expanding your greatness. Let's look it up in my book. I really do feel like there's going to be an extra message. I probably won't read the whole thing because we are tight on time, but I'll be right back. Wow, I just can't believe the synchronicity. The octopus here stands for cleverness. What I just said before, security, stability, hence, and adaptability, staying flexible with these changes and perhaps changes in direction and different routes. There's nothing to fear when you are clever and intelligent. These are powers often overlooked in the vastness of the sea. And you won't believe it, but there's documentaries on octopuses, and these are one of the smartest, most intelligent little species ever to live, basically. They're so smart, even more than humans per se. And that's just incredible because this is what's coming to us, higher consciousness. That's what higher consciousness basically is. Powers of the octopus, calling the octopus for blending in when you feel like an outcast. Any healing from any losses or any just disabilities, or clarity when everything seems upside down. This is this clarity that we are gaining. If octopus comes into your life, it's time to figure out what you were hiding from and face the facts. You may need to get out into the world to get noticed, hence being brought back down to earth, and count on your intelligence for survival. The energy center is the heart chakra. A mineral to work with is the iolite, the element of water, which does rule emotions, subconscious desires. And a little bit of a magic and mystery fact is, oh my God, the synchronicity. Pacific Northwestern shamans often wear octopus amulets because of its supernatural qualities. And this is what I said before. Octopus is often seen in jewelry made by the Mochi tribe in Peru, which is where my family is from, and they associate it with sacrifice, which that's the card that came up in reverse, a trait that they admire. So there is a need to sacrifice. I'm feeling like the sacrifice that's needed to be made is just sacrificing your comfort zone and be willing to feel the discomfort, even if just for a moment, because eventually you will adapt to that new discomfort and it will become your new comfort zone. And that's how you continue the spiral of progression. The shaman's intention begins with your many arms. Think of like the the arms from like a soldier, a knight, the shield and the swords. Please embrace all the directions and bring the ancestors to protect my sacred space. Wow. I do feel called, I feel really called to just read this little page here. There are 300 species of octopus, and they come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Octopus has been on the planet for 300 million years. Giant Pacific octopus is the largest, weighing in at 400 pounds and stretching 25 feet in length. Octopus regenerates if any part of it goes missing, and the ability to regrow severed tentacles is a defense tactic that enables it to escape predators, to get out of threatening predicaments that it finds itself in. So there's protection coming in as well, and I feel like we have the ability to protect ourselves as well, because we have become this warrior of light, untouchable. Octopus makes its home among cracks in rocks and reefs. These places are its shelter and where it lays its eggs. What we are nurturing, our projects, our ideas, our creations, literally, whatever you've given birth to in the metaphysical sense, is what we are nurturing and cultivating at these moments. It uses sharp teeth to attack the shrimp, crab, scallop, and various fish, and then suck out their meat. The poison of the Australian blue ring octopus can kill a human. Adaptable, octopus can live in different underwater environments. Its soft body allows it to squeeze through cracks and crevices. It has excellent eyesight and a special ability to keep its eyes in the same position while turning its body upside down. A difficult prey to spot in the sea, octopus is a master of camouflage. Its skin changes color and patterns within seconds when it needs to blend in. It uses a dark ink to throw off its enemies, and this defensive substance causes temporary blindness and paralyzes the sensors related to smell and taste. Octopus has 3 hearts to circulate blood to its organs. It prefers crawling over swimming, as swimming is exhausting for it. And Pacific Northwestern tribes used to see octopus as a medicine animal able to overcome sickness or bad weather. Octopus is the totem crest of many tribes. Its Hawaiian name is He, which means multifaceted, hence embrace all that is you. Mystical and flexible. Octopus is associated with Kanaloa, which is the Hawaiian god of the underworld. People have honored it through song and dance. They believed octopus is an extraterrestrial being. Because why is this so intelligent, right? Their creation story tells of a time when the cosmos was destroyed and octopus was the only survivor. Octopus is nature's animate mandala. As it moves, it sparks our fears of the depths of our being and encourages us to move to the mystic center of our being. Dissolving our beliefs and invertebrate its body signifies that our power is in our agility, not in having a strong backbone that only can serve as a structure with which to carry a burden. It teaches that whatever is lost can be replaced, and the movement of octopus is a lesson in fluidity and swimming through the world with intelligence. With a peaceful approach, octopus will welcome you into its world and promises to make you aware of new possibilities, hence these new doors of windows of opportunities opening. When not at rest, octopus is always propelling itself forward, moving into the future with confidence. That is our guidance. It brings us the message not to cling to the familiar or the comfort zones like a suction cup, as this will keep us from achieving our full potential. Grasp life with all of your tentacles and hold on tight, because learning to be human can be a rocky ride, hence this new adventure. And that's a beautiful way to conclude today's spiritual talk. Thank you everyone for joining me, and I will see you all for definitely the next full moon. Stay tuned and watch the next video for the Sambo healing session to give us a little bit of cleansing in our aura and help us to stay grounded during these changing times. I love you all. My name is Krista Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. If you want to learn more about my health and wellness brand, Body, Mind, and Spirit, check out my website, KristaRamirez.com/health and wellness. Make sure you check out all my membership subscriptions, including holistic nutrition, meditation, yoga, and also my programs like my mindful meditation program, my yoga therapy program, my science of yoga educational course, my herbology master course, and my upcoming Sacred Woman Healing program. This is all available as part of that brand. And make sure that you also check out your weekly health guidance on a week-to-week basis. It's available at my Spiritual Counseling TV network. So I decided to combine them and get also your dailies over there, plus more exclusive educational content. And I promise you that it really makes a difference to start the week with a health guidance, because this is in particular to our wellness, emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. Happy solar eclipse and new moon in Gemini. Make sure that you set your intentions, stay calm, stay in peace, and stay focused. It's you versus you. Be your own best friend during these times and learn to love your solitude. Fall in love with yourself. Remember, this month is all about self-love, self-care, and self-nurturance. Have an amazing and beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste. Hello my soul family, welcome to our spirituality retreat and Sambo healing session for today's solar eclipse in June of 2021 with this new moon in Gemini. So today we're going to do a very healing Sambo. This will be an audio format today. We're going to do things a little different because I really want to give you all the full experience. I will be talking over our Sambo and we're going to go into another room to do this. And I really want you all to set your intentions as you are listening to this. Lie down in Savasana and really enjoy the sound frequency that's going to heal us, that has the power to heal us. Jesus is present with us today as the healer of all ages. He's come to help us heal in our session today. And I'm also feeling Archangel Raphael showing up, as well as God himself. Mother Mary is also witnessing here today and sending her prayers and wanting to help us to return to self-care, self-love, self-nurturance, and self-focus. To our ultimate innocence is the focus today, to return to innocence and our fullest potential of a healed state, 100%. Batteries charged 100%. I feel like we've all been healed at about 75 to 80%, but now we deserve to be healed at the fullest 100%. And that's where we're reaching, and that's the goal for today as we start this new chapter, this new beginning, this new book of our life. Remember, it's all in your head. It's all within yourself. You can do it. You deserve to be healed. Let's affirm this today. I deserve to be healed and to heal others. So let's just stay in solitude today. Let us thank everyone present here today. Let us thank God for giving us this opportunity to heal and for giving us the wisdom and the tools necessary to be able to do this deep healing work on an auric level. I'm so grateful for all of you here today. Please enjoy today's Sambo healing session. Envision this golden white shower of light upon you as you listen to this session today. Light up some candles. Do this one at night. It might be really great for all of us today as we set our new moon intentions. Make sure that you also do a little exercise. Have a little sheet of paper, or maybe in your journal. Maybe in my new journal, The Rebirth, you can write your intentions for today's entry. And set your intentions for this specific next 2 weeks for the next full moon. What do you want to manifest? What do you want to start at least in manifesting in your goals? What do you want to set in action already for when it comes to these goals and visions in your mind. And then set your intentions and keep that in your mind as you listen to today's session. Find the stars. Look at the moon today. I know it's a new moon, so you won't be able to see a moon, but there might be stars in the sky. And do this one today in the night. I feel like it's going to be very healing for us, because remember, it's in the night when we're recharging and when our intuition is on full height, and when it's also the great time for reflection. It's a great time to also do my new You Tell Me Soul Coaching program. If you've purchased that program, it's going to be very helpful during these moments. Go to christiramirez.com/anewyou to watch the trailer and all the information right now on that program. And let's just get started today. I hope that you enjoy today's event. As always, it's a pleasure. It's so fun and healing. And I will see you all next time for the full moon. Check out my website for more details, information, and resources on all that I do in this brand, Body, Mind, and Spirit. christiramirez.com/health and wellness. My name is Christy Ramirez, and I'm your health and wellness expert. Namaste. Hello, my soul family. Welcome to today's sound bowl healing session for this new moon in Gemini and solar eclipse in June of 2021. My name is Christy Ramirez, and I'm your health and wellness expert. So I want to begin by asking you all to close your eyes as we embrace this sound frequency here today. Jesus' presence healing us in this room, in this place, at this time right now. Inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth for the first few breaths. And take deep breaths through your diaphragm. Go very deep. This is about this deep healing that's taking place deep in our hearts, in our subconscious, from early life, from past life, from childhood. All of these wounds need to come up for healing. Do not be afraid. It will not reoccur, and you will not re-experience that pain. But it's only to take into retrospection how it felt in that moment, and then shift our perspective about the interpretation of that event. This is how we introduce healing, as it would into any therapy, and this is how we're able to forgive, because this is what Jesus is here today for. He's helping us to forgive our past, any deep cuts in our heart, deep wounds that have taken years in healing, and many that are still open and not healed. We can't just place a band-aid over these heart wounds. They really need to be healed in the most authentic, raw way. And the only way to do that is to make sure that the environment in your soul is ripe for this regeneration. Just like a lizard can lose a tail and then grow it back with no problem, right? Because of this regenerative ability. Our heart has that same ability. All physical limbs in our body have that same ability. But it's about the mentality that can either interfere or can propel that healing. It's all in the mind. And in the mind, we can learn to believe in miracles, because that's what Jesus was. He was the great miracle worker of his time, and is still in this time, in the spiritual realm. And he asked for you to believe in him if you want a miracle in your life. Whatever healing it is that you are working on, Jesus is here to help, but you need to ask. Thank you, Jesus, for being here with us today and bestowing us with your healing energy and vibration through your healing hands and blessing us with a miracle that we so need today so that we can enter this new beginning, this new life, this new chapter in our life. That's the ultimate love story, the ultimate storyline. And I don't want to say beg, but we do really ask of you today to help us reach that level that we need to reach so that we can experience your miracles. Take some time to yourself during the solar eclipse to just sit with yourself and really ask yourself what it is that you want out of life. Because this solar eclipse is literally bringing us all the tools, the gifts, and the actual openings to make these dreams happen. This is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have the life and love of your dreams. So go after it. And don't doubt yourself, but keep moving upwards, higher, and just know that God is always with us. Jesus is also here, present with us in the earthly realm in spirit, wanting to help us to stay healthy and to stay open-hearted, because our heart rules receptivity. And in order to receive these blessings, we need to have an open, balanced heart chakra. And that's why Jesus is here. So let's just take a moment to close our session out today. And feel free to listen to this small session as many times as you need. Last day here on earth, how would you live it? That should be your goal, to live your everyday life. And yes, we all have responsibilities, but we can still live amongst those responsibilities in our happiest self, in joy, in love, in gaiety, and know that there are infinite potentials yet to come, yet to be even revealed. So be patient. Patience is the name of the game. You're on your way up. We're still climbing. This is just the beginning, literally, with the solar eclipse. So let's get ready for this new adventure. Hold on tight. And I will see you all for the next full moon. Namaste. Take some time to yourself during the solar eclipse to just sit with yourself and really ask yourself what it is that you want out of life. Because this solar eclipse is literally bringing us all the tools, the gifts, and the actual openings to make these dreams happen. This is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have the life and love of your dreams. So go after it. And don't doubt yourself, but keep moving upwards, higher, and just know that God is always with us. Jesus is also here, present with us in the earthly realm in spirit, wanting to help us to stay healthy and to stay open-hearted, because our heart rules receptivity. And in order to receive these blessings, we need to have an open, balanced heart chakra. And that's why Jesus is here. So let's just take a moment to close our session out today. And feel free to listen to this small session as many times as you need. Last day here on earth, how would you live it? That should be your goal, to live your everyday life. And yes, we all have responsibilities, but we can still live amongst those responsibilities in our happiest self, in joy, in love, in gaiety, and know that there are infinite potentials yet to come, yet to be even revealed. So be patient. Patience is the name of the game. You're on your way up. We're still climbing. This is just the beginning, literally, with the solar eclipse. So let's get ready for this new adventure. Hold on tight. And I will see you all for the next full moon. Namaste.